All right, we're live.
Okay. I just need to do a quick share to socials
But yeah,
with my absolute.
Hopefully, we're all good. I've noticed no tech issues from you guys anyway, so everyone sounds fine. So
Love that. Love that. We're live, me lovers.
oh,
I don't feel like live and live should be two different. Like they should be spelled the same.
yeah, the English language does that quite a lot. That's why people say it's like one of the hardest to learn, don't they? Like out of all the other like languages, people struggle to pick up English as like a secondary language because it is like that in so many ways. You just pronounce the same thing differently. It's like
It's true.
Weird.
It's true. Although I would take that over learning masculine and feminine versions of every single word.
That is pretty fucked. Yeah, I could never wrap my head around that for
It
when I was
changed the
doing
entire
Spanish.
sentence as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I could never wrap my head around that at all. That's where I struggled. I was always all right with actually like talking Spanish and like I could put together a sentence, but it was always the masculine and feminine. I was like, why is this a thing? So fucking sexist.
Why does
all
a
the same.
house need to be masculine or feminine? I don't understand.
I love the thought process when they discover something new. They're like, that
Which is
a
it?
word.
Yeah, it was sit around a table. We can't decide. Both.
Yeah. Casa. Casa is feminine. Did you know that? Like, as in casa, mi casa, su casa. Why?
I don't know.
Why?
It's the language
Makes it
podcast,
feminine.
everyone.
What makes it feminine? I just don't
But
get
you
it.
tell me we've got a new language podcast. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, this isn't QRP.
Yeah.
We're doing something different.
Right.
Yeah.
Did we not tell you? QRP is later. We pushed it later in the afternoon.
Start the jingle. Start the jingle now.
Oh, God. Yeah. Oh, he's manager again. Right, yeah, it started.
Hi, everyone. This is episode 127 of the Quick Cuisine Podcast. There's three of us again this week. If you've been here before, or maybe if you're new, my name's Deck. That's over there. That's Caden. Oh shit, I don't know where you are. That's Caden. Say hi, Caden.
Hi.
And over in the other person, trial of elimination. That's Tim.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah. And as per usual, we're here to talk about this week in Xbox, really, and various other miscellaneous things that we've been up to that may or may not be related and or maybe are adjacent to Xbox. Thankfully, we don't call the podcast that. That would be quite a long name. What have we been playing this week, boys? I know what Caden's been playing, and I'd really like to hear about what Caden's been playing, because of course we've kicked off the year with Prince of Persia coming out, certified banger. Then we had like a Dragon, certified banger, and then we had Tekken 8, certified banger. So Caden being the fighting game pro on the scene today, we need to hear it, man. How many hours of your day are you not playing Tekken at the moment?
So I was working it out yesterday. As of when I finished playing yesterday, I clocked on 25 hours within, I think it was 49 hours.
In one day.
So nearly 2 hours. So nearly every other hour.
Yeah, 1 hour for every two.
Yeah.
That's
wild.
Yeah.
So 50% of your
Nice.
time has been spent solely on Tekken over the last 2 days.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And that's obviously including eating and sleeping as well. So
Yeah.
I'm quite impressed with
Because
that.
if you think about it, like sleep is like a third of your day, like normally. So to just for half of all your time to just be Tekken is quite impressive, really. It's quite an accomplishment.
Well
Congratulations.
done. Yeah, well done.
Well done.
But the game itself, as those numbers could probably show, I'm really enjoying it. Right, very much so. I've been waiting for it for a long time now. Like Tekken 7 is an old game, and it's really good fun, but it's old. And Tekken 8
How old
is
is
just
it?
Tekken's that's whether you include the arcade version, but console is
2015.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
That's in the arcades.
It took a long time.
2017 for consoles. Yeah.
It's a big gap.
But the game's older than that, if you think of it. So, but yeah, it's a brilliant game. The online is compared to the other big fighting games, the online is probably not as good. But other than that, like,
Which just in terms of stability.
yeah, I would
Okay.
say
Could
if
just
you
be
know
getting rammed.
two players wide internet in the UK is fine. But as soon as you get someone on Wi-Fi, or as soon as you get someone outside of the UK, it's like okay. It's hit or miss.
Could it not just be first weekend sort of
so
growing
day
pains?
one patch, day one, the servers weren't very good at all. But they released a patch and they sorted out the servers a lot. That was just due to numbers, like they just weren't ready for that kind of like player base. So they sorted that out. That's all cool. But there's some crazy new stuff in there. There's like a ghost. Not even ghost. Sorry. There's like a replay function where you can go back into your old game.
Oh, I've seen
and
this.
Like you can look at your game, and then they'll do something stupid, but you're stupid, so you didn't do the right thing, and the game stops the replay, and it goes, "This is what you should have done," and then you take control of your own replay, and then you do what the game tells you that you should have done.
Yeah. You can create a new reality essentially where you won.
It's ridiculous.
It's fucking crazy.
The Tekkenverse.
Yeah.
And there'll be little things where it's like someone will hit you with a move, and it will just pop up saying you can duck here. You take control, you duck it, and then you're like, oh shit. And
is that, hang on, so is that like a tutorial, like a help you improve sort of thing? It's not part of the actual game. Yeah, okay.
No, it
it is part of the game. It's
part of the game, but
yeah.
What do you mean? What's your question?
It's like a
it's a training mechanic rather than like you're not describing like a time feature in the actual battle with someone.
No,
it's
an after.
You come in afterwards. Like I got mauled by a law player. I was like, "What is this law player doing?" Went into replay. Yeah. Oh, he's doing this. This is how I beat it. And so that was incredible.
Yes.
That was so much fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
And in Tekken, because there's 32 characters, someone will play fucking a character you've never seen. You're like, I don't know what he's doing. Go into replay mode and then just figure out what he's doing, and it'll tell you. So that's that aspect, which is a really cool, unique area. And then there's also a ghost mode, which is where you essentially fight yourself, and the AI picks up on your habits and your kind of the way you play, and you're essentially just playing yourself. And you're not like playing computer on hard. It picks up on your habits, like I spam this move, or once I do this, I then do this, and it picks up on weird things like that. Picks up on your combos, picks up on your pokes. It's wild what it's doing.
I feel like the new, like the renaissance of like fighting games that we've had in the last 2 years have had all had really good accessibility and like training features. Am I wrong there?
You're totally right. So Tekken practice has always been a bit lacking in comparison to MK. MK1's practice probably wasn't as good as it used to be, but typically MK and Street Fighter have better training modes than Tekken. But I think it's just because Tekken has so much more things to set up. But yeah, once you figure it out, it's just a joy to learn. Like it's so much more learning to Tekken than there is to MK and Street Fighter and other fighting games.
And I think that's such a huge draw to a lot of the fighting audience as well. Is just getting yourself peak, right? It's just it's always chasing that ceiling and getting as good as you can. And I feel like those features are going to go such a long way to people just replaying the game and just getting absolutely insane with every character or just one character. I mean, that like replay tech where you can just jump in to a match and where you went wrong, take over it and then just change it and end up being like, okay, that's insane to me. That almost doesn't sound real. Like it doesn't sound like that sort of tech should exist.
Yeah, no, it is weird, isn't it? Like imagine that in kind of
it's not allowed.
Yeah, it's strange.
It's so weird.
Yeah, I'm using that a lot. And I'm sure a lot of new players will appreciate that as well. Like they're fighting someone and they're just doing the same move over and over, and you're like, I cannot beat this move. And then the game will say, do this. And then that's it. It's really cool.
Yeah. Man, I wonder how they've done that. Like if they've done that like on a move to move basis, or if there's like a bit of machine learning going on there, like the game figures out
a move.
what's
so
best.
a lot of it will be like when they do this move, they're -14, and your -14 punish is this. That'll sometimes come up, but there's also ones where it's like you can duck this, or trying to think of other it's not perfect. So, for example, if there's like a gap in a move, it won't necessarily say. Or if you can sidestep a move, it won't say stuff like that. I guess you have to figure that out, but it's near perfect. It's really cool.
Yeah. No, it's sick, man. Yeah. No,
That's
I'm
what I've
glad
been
you're
playing. Like
enjoying it.
once basically before that, and then Baldur's Gate, obviously. But I won't be touching pretty much any other game now for probably 3-4 weeks, I reckon.
At least 3 or 4 weeks.
I mean, yeah.
Who's your main right now?
That's funny.
Victor, so he's like a French John Wick mixed
Is he new?
with
Or is he?
Victor.
yeah, he's a new character mixed with what's the guy from Metal Gear called?
Snake.
Sam.
Solid Snake.
What's his name? Sam. Oh, what's he called? Something to do with Sam
I don't know.
in Revengeance.
Oh, I don't think I played that. Oh, what, the guy with the sword?
Jetstream Sam.
Oh,
He's like Jetstream Sam mixed with John Wick. He's really cool.
nice. Sweet, man.
What have you guys been playing?
Hang on a
Oh.
minute, no, because I want to hear how are our friends who are less like fighting game fetishists like you know, like how are they getting on with Tekken? Like, what's your vibe? Obviously you don't know, but like, what's your vibe with how they're picking it up so far?
So I've got like a smaller group of friends that on PC that play some fighting games, and they've all been picking it up, and they're kind of Tekken is very much knowledge based, so it's a very knowledge checky. So if you don't know the answer to this, I'm just going to do it. And like I've just been saying for the last 5 minutes or so, like how the game can show you how to beat those things. So for a new player, it's exhausting to lose because it is spammy. But as soon as you figure out, if he's just going to spam this, I'm just going to do this. So one thing we say is, when someone's spamming a move, you're spamming the same issue, like you're spamming the same failure. This was one way of looking at it. So so that I'm trying to show them all the learning stuff, because it doesn't make it obvious that you can do this type of learning, which is a slight shame, because I don't know if you guys knew about that replay thing.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously you don't play it, but even the guys playing it,
I've never played a Tekken.
I mean, yes, fair enough. But even the guys who were playing it, they didn't know that function existed, and I was like, why not? Like,
it's pretty bad. Yeah,
it's just fucking cool.
Yeah. The game should bombard you with that at the at the menu.
I noticed you got bodied this game. Try this replay.
Yeah. You got murked, kid.
Yeah.
You should probably do something about that.
Oh, you say that should be a feature though. Like if you genuinely have lost like 3 matches in a row or something like that, they'd be like, "Why didn't you hit the replay mode and see what you did wrong?" You know, like a little pop up. It's actually a really good idea.
The game also tracks like character stats. So like, you beat 80% of Brian's you go against. You lose 90% of your games against this character. Maybe you should do this, like in the replay or whatever. I was like, that'd be a cool way of highlighting what you're doing wrong.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, especially as there are so many characters, like you said. I mean, so there's 32 right now as of
32
launch.
characters,
it's
and
mental.
Some characters. So King is my other character that I play. He's got 197 moves.
It's kind of crazy. But do those moves include
like
just high kick, low kick? Is that part of the 196?
No, that's
no.
Well, I mean, so he's got a lot of like throw combos.
Okay.
Basically.
Yeah.
So a lot of those count. But other characters like Reina, Nina, they're really like string heavy. So they've got loads of strings. So they'll have like 100 and something odd.
It's kind of crazy. Yeah.
So on the surface level, it's daunting. But
fighting games are daunting enough to me.
I mean, Tekken is probably the most daunting out of all of them. But I think they know that, they're aware, because a lot of games are dumbing down to make it easier. But Tekken are like, nah, fuck you guys. Rather than making the game easier, we're going to make it easier to learn. And I think that's such a cool approach that not other games are doing at the minute.
Yeah, it's like, here's like our learning curve is going to stay steep. You're going to climb that hill, but we're at least going to give you like, we'll give you some sandwiches and some rations on the way up that hill.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, so it sounds like you're really enjoying it. I mean, that seems to be the consensus.
What did it go through in the end? Was it 89, 90? What are we looking at? That's about.
I didn't know. I didn't think it dropped below.
No, I think it's about 90, isn't it?
90. I think it still is 90. Let's check. Yep, still 90. 90
and
exactly.
Street Fighter was 92.
And
then it dropped to 89.
I think it did. Did it really? Did it come down?
I think it did.
Might have done on. Let's check. Street Fighter 6. On OpenCritic it stayed at 92. Maybe on Meta it went down.
Got it. Yeah.
And Like a Dragon.
And
got
that's
a
another
90
thing as
as
well.
well,
It's just
so
content rich. It's just got a proper fleshed out story mode. It's got proper arcade. It's got a really cool arcade quest where you play a me essentially, and you go around this arcade essentially, and you go around to different arcades and you're challenging all like the best players in all the arcades.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
it is
really
cool.
Fun way of doing it. Yeah, and that's where it implements the ghost functionality, where it picks up different characteristics of different people and it plays that character in a certain way rather than just computer on hard mode. It's got a bit more character to it.
Nice.
No.
Sweet as, man.
Awesome. Sounds like you've had a good time.
Yeah.
I guess Tim, we'll go to you. You've had a couple of things on the go. Let's tell us about your gamer brain.
Yeah, I've had a couple of things on the go this week. I managed to beat Starfield first and foremost. We did it. We beat a first party game. Yeah, I think I clocked in around 28 hours in the end. I did one of the factions as well, but unfortunately I picked the 3-star Rangers. So it was a bit shit.
Did you do that one, Caden? Did you do the 3-star collective?
I did
the Cowboys.
Yeah, I did that
collective.
Yeah, I never did that.
It's just kind of shit. I don't know. I'd say about 80% of the time you're just flying to a planet, talking to someone, and then flying to a planet and talking to someone. That's it. But I literally just talked to like 10 different people, and like kind of piece together some sort of story. I guess you're supposed to be kind of figuring it out in detective or whatever, but I don't know. And then it just kind of just ends. There's a couple big like gunfight scenes and stuff like that, but that's about it. Yeah, pretty average. I was quite disappointed with that, but I started it and I thought I might as well just ride that one home for that playthrough, as sure. I already started it. But yeah, and then obviously I beat the game itself, the main story, which was decent. I think the last...
You went into the Unity?
I did go into the Unity, yeah, I did. I think the last couple missions were pretty good. I think the one where you keep going between dimensions, different universes, to like basically just progress through the level and turn off the whatever it was. I don't know. Do you guys remember that one? It was like one of the final ones.
I think I do.
That dragged on a little bit too much, and I was getting kind of sick of it towards the end. I'm not gonna lie. It was like 30 straight minutes of me just clicking on portals and going in and out in dimensions and trying to figure my way through this laboratory, and it just got a bit much. The gimmick just got really fucking old really quick. Like 10 minutes in I was like, it's kind of cool, and 30 minutes in I was like, end me now please, like just I want this to be
Wrap
done.
it up.
Yeah, so but they were decent. I ended up, I mean obviously spoilers, but I ended up siding with the emissary more than the hunter for my first playthrough. I was tempted to go with the hunter, but I just thought, I just got emissary. It makes more sense the way that the emissary is talking about it, at least from a neutral standpoint, I guess.
I killed them both. I think that's
you killed them both.
Neutral way of doing it.
Just an anarchist, man.
Yeah.
No order at all.
But yeah, it was all right. I think overall, I'd probably give my experience like a 7.5. Like it was fine. It didn't blow me away in any way, but I don't necessarily regret my time with it. But yeah, I give it like a 7.5. Decent game.
Cool.
Pretty rough in a lot of areas. The combat and AI were a bit dumb, but then in some other areas of the game, they were so fucking stupidly powerful that you had to just turn it down a couple of difficulties, especially in the ship combat, and it just doesn't make sense. You should never be having to go into the menus to go from hard or normal to very easy to actually just escape a ship battle, for example. And I got a really nice ship in the end as well. I wasn't just using the default one, so and I added like loads of guns to it and bought the best guns and all that kind of shit. So wasn't me, I swear.
Did you ever have a Type C, or were you just in a Sorry, class. Like, were you just on a class A, or did you go to a class B?
No, I went to a
'Cause you had
class
to
B.
spec into it, obviously.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
went to
class
a
B,
class
yeah.
B in the end, so I didn't have the top range of ships because class. Does it go
Class
class
Cs
A?
were mainly for freighting, though. They're not really for combat.
Oh, okay.
If you looked at the stats.
Yeah,
I don't know,
okay.
man. I had a C that was like a tank, and like I was so slow, but I just blew everything
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. It was not like a fighter.
Yeah,
It's
it
just
depends
like
how you spec them, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it was good. You know, I'm kind of glad I got it off my back. And it was a decent experience. You know, luckily enough, it captured
Good.
my attention for me to run it through to the end. Which was a hell of a lot more than I could say for it when I first started the game. But yeah, I think the best way I can describe that game is it's just very clunky. I think from going places from point A to B is very clunky, and I think combat's a bit clunky, and obviously I just think it's kind of clunky. Just overall,
It
as
is a clunky
package.
game.
Yeah, it kind of looks like it's held together with duct tape, but decent. Yeah, not bad.
Cool. I mean, what I just wanted to ask Caden quickly, actually. How many hours did you put into Starfield, Caden? Do you remember? Like, if you had to give a ballpark figure.
I mean, I played through once. I finished my playthrough, and that was it. I didn't touch it again.
Yeah,
so probably not. How much did you do
20
though?
to 30.
Yeah,
20 to
I was
30
about to
hours.
say. Sounds about similar to me, especially if you only did like one faction as well. I would imagine you're probably around the
I
same.
did a few factions. I did all the factions before the like. I remember talking to Deck when it first came out. I was like, I actually forgot to do all the main story quests.
Oh,
I got
okay.
carried away with the side quests.
Well, you probably.
So I did everyone's other than the pirates. I can't remember what they're called.
Crimson Fleet. Yeah,
Crimson Fleet. They're the ones I didn't do.
Yeah, well, you're a bit more speed runny than me as well. But yeah, I'd probably say you're probably over the 30-hour mark. I would imagine.
Maybe,
but yeah, not far off me. But yeah, and obviously I started into the new game plus because that's what happens when you go into the Unity. And I went there, and they were like, "Who are you?" And all that. I recognize you, but I don't. What was it?
Oh, that's me.
Okay, so it's about 50.
I see, buddy.
About 54 hours.
2 days, 2 days, 9 hours. So yeah, about 55. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't think it hasn't captured my interest enough for me to go and do a new game plus playthrough quite yet. And obviously do the other factions. Maybe at some point I'll go back to it. Bethesda games do have that charm where you can go back to them quite easily sometimes. So, I don't know. But for now, I think I'm kind of done with it. I'm going to put it down. Yeah.
I mean, this has been. I'm interested in this because you know, I mean, I imagine some of our viewers will either still be, well, maybe still be playing Starfield, maybe yet to play Starfield, or maybe even feeling the same way where they're kind of like, you know, they've started it or like hearing a lot of the online discourse. Like what you've told us a lot about, like what you didn't like, Tim. What clicked like when you came back this time? What kept you going? You know, what did you like?
I don't really know, to be honest. Nothing really actually clicked with me 100%. It just kind of started to feel a little bit more Bethesda-y as I got a little bit more into it. I didn't mind talking to people as much and, you know, exhausting some of the dialogue options. You know, I invested in a couple skills like persuasion, which made things a little bit more interesting. I got some decent loot. You know, guns became more interesting for me as well. Like I started using like other things. Got like some cool shotguns and assault rifles and stuff. Again, nothing mind blowing. Like just maybe it ignites somebody sometimes. You know, nothing like crazy. And yeah, I just think it just kind of started to feel Bethesda-y a little bit, and I was like, yeah, I'm kind of vibing with this, but. No, I wouldn't say nothing inherently hooked me where I was like, this is great. I'm staying on here for the combat. Not really. But yeah, I just think everything just started to gel a little bit better as an overall package. And I was like, I can see this through to the end as like a, you know, like I said, like a decent 7.5 out of 10 experience, you know. So yeah.
Sure. Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Congratulations on finishing your first party game
ever
since Fable 2 or something like that. maybe Gears Gears 5, actually. I think Gears 5 was probably the last one.
It's not that bad, viewers. It's not that bad. It's just a running joke.
It is.
It's not. Shut up.
It's not a running joke. What else have you been playing?
Well, we started Diablo 4 again this week with the new season of the Construct, which has been, to my knowledge now, when I went back after playing it with Deck for a few hours, and I was like, I have fun with this, and I looked it up on YouTube, and I was like, everyone else really isn't. I was like, everyone else hates this.
Everyone hates everything all the time. It's just how it be.
But I think a lot of those have been addressed in a patch that's actually just gone out yesterday or something. Because I think a lot of people are basically just saying the pet, which is like the main kind of mechanic, this little pet that you get, like robot thing, is just really shit. It doesn't really do anything or impact the game, and it's like impossible to level up. Like it's the grindiest grind fest you'll ever fucking see. So you don't ever see that power spike before you're finished with the content. You're just done with the game at that point. So they've addressed that and they've sped everything up like 200%. And people are saying it's a lot better now and they're having a lot more fun with it. But that was basically it. Yeah, I don't think people were generally too happy with the season. But
it's quite funny that you mentioned it because, like, as we started the show, I booted up to go onto the studio and just have a look at the stream and everything. And I went onto my subscription box, and the first video that popped up in my subscription box was Blizzard responds to Diablo 4 Season 3 disaster.
Yeah, it seriously was. Like, it was bad. Like, some of their highest players and their best streamers and all that were literally just like, I'm just not going to play it this season. I'm just going to go play Palworld. Like it's literally just that bad, you know. So I don't know if they're going to bring him back with this patch. They have addressed a lot of the issues, a lot of the core issues. So, and they've done that very quick, you know, to Blizzard's credit. They have done that very quick. So, but, you know, as a normal kind of average gamer who doesn't spend 16 hours a day playing these games and then say that they don't have enough content, even
it's like Caden.
Yeah. Even though the content is free, these season updates, and people seem to expect a new Diablo every 3 months. It's a bit nuts.
Right. What are they getting wrong? Like what is it?
Well, I genuinely just think it's people's expectations a little bit. Like a lot of the negativity stems from a lot of these very high influential people that play the game as a career, and then people just jump on board. There's a lot of toxicity around Blizzard games, like World of Warcraft and Diablo and all these grind fest games. They tend to come with really toxic communities, and yeah, I just feel like when these people, they play it so fucking much and then they just say there's nothing to do in the game, and it's just like, well, yeah, like it's a seasonal update. It's supposed to kind of refresh the game, give it a little bit of a rejuvenation, but it's not Diablo 5 every 3 months and then Diablo 6. Like, chill out. You're not going to get the same experience. You're getting little bits to keep you going. It's not their fault if you play it 16 hours a day and you get through that in 2 days. Like, I really don't think that's Blizzard's fault or Blizzard's problem. They can't possibly keep up with that sort of content. But yeah, I mean, this one, the issue was generally just like the scaling. From what I hear, it was just that, like, because every season is supposed to have a new gimmick and a new power spike that changes the way your character plays and interacts with the season, and this one just didn't have it, because that power spike you never actually reached before you finished the content. You finished all the content before you ever reached that power spike that's supposed to be unique with the season. Now they've addressed that. So but yeah, I think that was the issue with this one. But I think generally the last couple, the vampire one, people actually thought was pretty decent, and the Malignant Hearts one, people thought was okay. Like, this one's the only one that's been a proper shit show, like, right off the bat, but it has now hopefully gotten better. But yeah, I'm having fun with that. I started a sorcerer. Sorcerer's fun. I never play sorcerers ever in these kind of games, so it's
I'm very tempted to jump back on. It's just obviously a bad time to Tekken, because I was getting to a stage where I did actually kind of want to jump back in.
Well, we almost invited you, and then we saw you on Tekken, and we were like, no, it's just, we're just not going to bother. Like, we don't exist as humans when Caden's on a Tekken. He doesn't remember he has friends outside of Tekken when he's on it.
Hey, look, you guys. Hey, don't get me started on that.
Yeah, we are eating into your Tekken time right now. To be fair,
You are. You are.
Oh god.
How are you gonna keep up the 50%, conversion rate
Yeah,
of time
exactly.
to Tekken time?
Yeah,
It's the
you
only
have to
thing I've
make up
done
for it.
other than eat and sleep so far. So consider yourselves
I
lucky.
know, man. Although we did see on Power,
yeah.
did you go on Palworld with them a little bit?
I
The
did
other
when it
night?
launched, but that was before Tekken.
Oh, okay, but you didn't go on the
and-
other night because we saw that Mike and Jake were on it, but we weren't sure if you joined them. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
I think because for them, I played both the betas. So for me, the game was familiar, whereas to them, it's completely not familiar in any way. So when I was
Yeah.
playing against them, I didn't think they.
well, they should probably
Did
play
like-
with each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
think
kind of
playing
found
with each
that
other
with
is a
you.
bit more enjoyable.
Like sometimes I
with
hopped
me.
on a game with you and like you were trying to teach me, but you have like this patience level, which is really funny. Like we jump in and I'm like, oh, let me just try this string, and you let me try it a few times or whatever, but then I don't know, something just snaps in you, and then you just absolutely wall me for like and then you win the round, or like you win the match. You're just like, I don't know, you just hits this like patient threshold. You're like, I've had enough. That's it. I need to 30 combo you like right now. I need to hit this string. And you just absolutely annihilate me. Just
You know, I'm
put
like,
me in
can't do
my
nothing
place.
for too long.
Exactly.
I have to do something.
Yeah, it's really funny. But yeah, that's kind of been me this week. So yeah, just finishing off Starfield and trying out the new Diablo. And yeah, I'm having fun with Diablo, which I think is I think it's a nice game for me to have because I don't think there's too much. I mean, I've got Final Fantasy at the end of the month, but then I guess Dragon's Dogma is probably my next game I might buy on my Xbox. Dragon's Dogma 2, and that's not till like mid end of March. I think it's like 20 something of March.
I'm not that far.
So yeah, I think it's a good time to sort of get back into Diablo for me and have like a game like that on the go. So yeah, having fun with it. But...
like really random segue for a second. Caden, you know how you were saying, you can't do anything? You're like, what? No, that's not what you said.
Oh God.
You need to be doing something. I'm the same, right? To a degree, I really am. Do you guys, this is a question for the group, do you guys do stuff while you brush your teeth?
I walk around the room. I can't just stand there.
So, right, yeah.
I do that on a phone call. On a phone call, I pace. I can't sit down on a phone call.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Nah, like 2 minutes. I can do 2 minutes.
I can't. I like walk around. I look out the window. I'm like, what's going on? Like, yeah, I don't know. I can't. Yeah, I can't stand there for 2 minutes brushing my teeth. No.
Fascinating. Yeah, I'm the same. I'm always, it's one of the activities I do in the day where I have to multitask it. Like I have to. Like I'll make a coffee like while it's in my mouth. And I'll like hold the toothbrush in my mouth and just crunch on the bristles while I need 2 hands and then go back to brushing.
That's weird.
Well, do you use a manual
it is a
toothbrush?
bit, yeah. I do, yeah.
Yeah, but if you had an electric, I don't think you could really do that. That'd be a bit.
I have done before. I do have an electric, and I have done that before. I just let it like dangle out my mouth while it's just brushing. But I prefer manual toothbrushes. I don't know. I probably shouldn't because they're not as good. But
Well, no, there's no science behind that. It depends on how deep in you get, mate, with the manual toothbrush. If you spend longer and brush harder and make sure you get in all the areas, I don't think it matters. I think it makes a difference. I use a manual sometimes. Sometimes I use an electric.
This is where we go to our
Depends if I
sponsor,
could be.
Oral B, is it?
Yeah. Speaking of which, but yeah, no, yeah, that was a random segue. But what
sorry, man.
What have you been playing this week, Deck?
I've had one of those hodgepodge weeks. I've had one of those hodgepodge weeks, right?
Yeah.
Still playing Ghost of Tsushima. I'm pretty sure I'm on the last mission. I've had a good time. It's a real easy game to play. It's probably in the 8 to 8.5 region for me. I like how the story's coming together. I found the combat's gotten a bit like got a bit samey. Like it's a nice like rock paper scissors system. For those who don't know, you like change stances based on who you're fighting. So you've got like a sword stance, a stance for shield, a stance for spears, a stance for big brute boys. So it feels a bit rock paper scissors to me, which I'm like just personally like that mechanic. I'm like kind of over with. I like things to be a bit more detailed than that, but it's okay. It works. It keeps things fresh. Like it's good. It's solid. It's really solid. But like at times I find myself just like mashing the same button over and over again. Which and then changing stance and mashing, and it feels like it kind of loses its luster, even though it looks good. So that's been great. Coming towards the end of that, I played a bit of really randomly played a bit of Grounded again this week. I just played it with my wife and my sister-in-law. If you're listening, Arj, hi. And that's great. I love Grounded, as you all know, and our long-time viewers will know as well.
Okay.
Have you guys played Escape Room Academy?
Nope.
No.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
That was a Game Pass, wasn't it? Like an escape room-esque kind of thing.
It's still in Game Pass, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's an escape room game, and it's fucking lit. I don't think I've ever said that word
I
before.
had something very different because when I was in a party with Jake and Jamie and Mike, and they were playing with Jamie, and I was like, "This sounds awful."
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I can see
I'm actually
why.
would be quite interested.
Yeah, you can play. I don't know if you can. You must be able to play online then, but I'm playing it split screen with my wife, and it's really good. It's just a really well executed escape room game, and it's got this kind of overarching story. You go to it. It's like Harry Potter. Like you get recruited to an escape room school, and you go into class, and they're like, "I'm gonna fucking lock you up." In the one I just did, you had to drink a milkshake, and you had to figure out how to like unlock the milkshake, and then you drink it, you're like, yeah, hey, it's over, and then it baits you out, and somebody else comes in, and he's like, I poisoned it, you better find the antidote, it's in here somewhere, figure it out. And you're like dying in school, and you have to escape, your own mortality. It's quite profound, really, if you think about it.
Fantastic. Yeah,
no,
sounds
it's
interesting.
fantastic. Anyway, that's a baller game. Like, would recommend, highly recommend, like top tier couch co-op game. Really top tier, like up there with It Takes Two and the rest of them. So there's that, and then the last thing I like, just really randomly. I mean, obviously, when playing Diablo with Tim, I don't have much more to add other than what Tim's already said. Started as a necro. But hey,
nice.
That one move that they have is fucking busted with the tentacles and
the tendrils.
Sucks them in.
So good.
Tendrils, that's the one. It's triple S tier, that move. Still unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. And then a recent addition to Game Pass. Have you guys seen? You won't have heard of this. Go Mecha Ball.
I've seen it, and I noticed you were playing it yesterday.
Is it any good?
Because I'm on the guys over on some of the Xbox forums over on like Resetter and stuff. Said, but like I've seen it called out a few times, so I was like, I'll just fucking download it and give it a go. And I was like really surprised. I was like, this is fucking fun. The best way I can describe it is it's like Sonic with guns, but it's a roguelite.
There's guns.
It's so weird.
I'm looking at photos now.
It's so bizarre. It doesn't photo well. It's really smooth though. You like ping around as a ball, and then you unravel when you've got guns, and it's a roguelike, and you keep progressing through these. It's basically a top-down shooter, but you can Metroid up into like a ball and do moves while you're a ball and ping around like a pinball on the environment. And then you get upgrades, and it's a roguelike. I literally played it for maybe 45 minutes, but I was quite surprised. I was like, oh, what is this bollocks? Like, what are people talking about? Good game. Game Pass fodder, am I right? And then I booted it up, and I was like, oh, this is actually quite fun. This is stupid, but this is quite fun. But anyway, whatever. I'd recommend that if you like.
I mean, funnily enough, I haven't played this, but I saw someone play it, and I had no idea it was in Games Pass, and it looks fucking fire, and it's another roguelite. It's called RoboQuest. You guys played RoboQuest?
Yes, that shooter. Yeah. Robot shooting game.
It's like a robot shooter roguelite, and it could apparently be played 2-player co-op as well. It looks insane. Wow. I watched someone play it for like half an hour, and I was like, this is a new addiction. Like, this will be my new addiction. So I put that on download.
It looks like the other one that we played.
The one with the animals. Yeah. Yeah, it is similar, but it looks really good, man. Like it genuinely looks insane. And it's
This does look quite
so
good.
highly rated. I mean, it's 10 out of 10 on Steam. It's been out for a
Wow.
little while as well. Yeah, 96% liked. And yeah,
It's
Game
still
Pass.
early access. Isn't it?
I don't think so.
Or has it just come out? I know there's an update for it recently.
No, it hasn't
I
just
think
come
it's
out.
just come out.
I think it's been buried at Game Pass for a little while. It
Yeah,
was
but
just
it was
only
early
bought.
access in Games Pass. I think it's just come out of
Oh,
early access. I think.
maybe. Yeah. I mean, you could be right. Yeah. Let me have a look. But yeah, it looks really good. Obviously, I haven't played it, so I can't really give my full take on it. But yeah, I would get that shit on download. Obviously, Caden has played it, but there's like different classes as well and stuff like that you can go in and play and like level up, and yeah, it looks baller. So give that a go if you're looking for something on Games Pass.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Well, that was a lengthy what we've been playing section.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into some of the news for this week then. I suppose I really wanted to check in with Caden because obviously we didn't have, we weren't blessed with your presence last week, Caden. And we did the last time we saw you, we did the developer direct reactions, and we were like, the consensus that we felt was like, cool, Hellblade 2 looked great. Yes, Avowed looked like surprisingly good, and we were kind of all a bit lukewarm on Indiana Jones. And then I'm sure as you, as we did, you logged off and you saw Avowed was like kind of mixed, and everybody was popping over Indiana Jones. So I sort of quickly wanted to gauge your like how you felt about that, like if any of your opinions have changed, or if you think the internet's being silly, or if we're being silly.
Yeah, it was strange to see the reaction for Indiana Jones because I guess maybe I don't know. Are we the wrong audience for it? I guess
That's what me
I
and
didn't
Deck were
realize it was
questioning.
that big of a deal, and like because the gameplay was mid, and I think because the IP is it an IP? What's the franchise or whatever?
Yeah,
Is
in
my opinion a very mid franchise. So I guess with the wrong people. I don't know. But I'm glad it's got a good people like the look
a
of
good
it.
reception. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mm.
And yeah, Avowed, maybe they just showed off the wrong kind of stuff. I don't know. Like, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the showing. People were saying the combat didn't look too great, but like,
yeah.
I think they
Like
just need to show off more unique stuff, I suppose.
Definitely, and I think when people are going to an Obsidian showing for the RPG stuff, but like that was part of the reason that I think we were really excited when we saw what we saw, because we were like, oh wow, this looks like it has like really like thoughtful like combat. There were a couple of things that needed tweaking here and there. We commented all on that during the showing, but like when I came away and people were like, God, the combat looks terrible, it's so lifeless, like nobody's responding to everything, and like nobody's responding to hits, and I'm like, what, we've watched the same thing? Like there's clearly people getting whacked around. Like there's some things where there would be nice to have a bit more weight, but like it really, I'm still a bit confused about it. Like I really feel like I watched something different to what other people watch, but also it's internet things, like people zoom in on pixels on videos and stuff, so it is what it is. But like it was just quite funny that our reception ended up being kind of inverted to what everyone else's was when it finished.
Mm.
Lovely. All right then, let's crack on. So I wanted to the Palworld shit is still going, and it was just worth mentioning really quickly. As you guys know, Palworld is currently only available on Xbox and PC. So for once, Xbox has landed the right, the right game to get in. They missed out on Genshin, missed out on Fall Guys. I'm sure there's some others as well, but I finally got one with Palworld here. And funnily enough, very quickly they started doing Series S Palworld bundles in Korea. And I was like, oh, that's a quick movement, isn't it? Like, I wonder why just Korea as well? Like, maybe it's a particularly emergent market, or particularly important for this sort of game. But yeah, any thoughts about that, guys? About bundling it
As
with
in like
Power?
that's weird. Like what, with Game Pass or with Palworld?
That's a good point, actually. Yeah, probably just with Game Pass, but Power World's plastered on the front.
Right. Yeah, I was wondering how they did that, but that's interesting. I mean, I guess it proves how massive it is, which obviously it is now. But
Mm.
yeah,
Capitalizing.
a weird W.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's very weird, W.
Mm. Yeah, I imagine. Yeah, maybe they're just capitalizing on the hype right before it dies down. Maybe Xbox are very much in the same camp we were when we were talking about the game, where we were like, yeah, it's great, but like, how long will it last? Like, will it just be a fad? Will they be able to keep up with the updates, keep people interested? Will they get sued into the ground? Um, who knows? So maybe Xbox just like, yeah, maybe this is just a ticking time bomb. It's pretty easy to slap some fucking art on the front of a Series S. This shit's everywhere. This yellow Electabuzz looking fuck. Let's get him on the front and sell some Xboxes while we can. Yeah, it doesn't really surprise me. This sort of thing can be churned out pretty quick to capitalize on the hype. And yeah, I just think I guess maybe that sort of audience over in Korea and those sort of areas are just they're just very receptive to this sort of thing. Maybe Pokemon's really big over there as well, and they see a lot of player counts on the servers from that sort of region, and they're like, yeah, let's go here first. Who knows? But yeah, it doesn't surprise me. But yeah, good on them. Why not, right?
Yeah, why not? And it does make you wonder because, like Xbox has moved away from this timed exclusivity stuff in recent times. They've kept it up with some of the smaller games, like Cocoon was a good example. Those feel like slightly different. Like it's not a money hat in the sense that they're just throwing money at the dev to keep it off other consoles. They're funding part of the development for a small team, and that team can only afford to get it on one platform for launch. So that kind of feels like what's happened here. But yeah, for once, they've kind of bet on the right horse. So we'll see. It's quite an interesting thing to see. It's still kind of growing. Really bizarre. Me and Tim had a really long conversation about this last week. Hayden, did you have anything you had to say about the explosion of Palworld? Like any thoughts on that at all?
I mean, I don't know. It's just, I guess you kind of forget how big the survival genre is, I suppose, don't you? Like, because we don't really play survival games typically. We've dabbled in a few, but we've never committed for longer than maybe a week or two.
Yeah.
But then I guess this just proves that player base is huge. The Pokemon player base is huge. They found a really weird mix of the two, with like it being fully aware that it's a game, with like being able to capture humans and stuff like that. It's really dumb stuff. But yeah, I guess I'm not surprised it's big, but this big is that is a surprise for me.
I mean, it's actually grown, isn't it? Because I think when we last talked about it, Deck, last week, we were talking about it at like 1.2, like concurrent or whatever. Apparently, it got over 2 million concurrent players at some point last week.
Yep, it did. Yep.
Fucking what? Second highest in Steam recorded history, just behind PUBG. Like, what the fuck?
Why?
Over 2 million active. What? It's fucking nutty, dude. It's absolutely nutty. I just don't get it.
Yeah,
because it is jank. It's not like you look at it and you're like, it's a fun, light-hearted, kind of stupid game. But I wouldn't look at that game and go, "That's a good game." You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But it kind of is. It's such a weird anomaly. I don't know, but yeah. I mean, obviously, credit to it. It's made with a small team or whatever, and yeah, I think they used a lot of AI to like make the game and stuff like that, which is fine. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but there's so many people blowing this out of proportion and just being like, oh, this is going to be the future of gaming now because it's so successful. People are just going to make AI clones slightly different and ram it down your face, and it's just like, well, let's not cross that bridge quite yet, just because we've had one success. But yeah, it is an interesting argument, but yeah.
What is it? Is the argument that because people think that it's there has been AI used in Palworld? Is that what you mean? Is it that
and
one?
people just make your quick copy, like half copy cash cows using AI and stuff like that, and copy formulas from other games and just pump out loads. And when one doesn't work, it doesn't matter because not much was invested in it. They'll just try another one with another skin on it, and then that's what people are thinking. Like, oh, is gaming going to start going down this route?
I think that's quite an interesting topic, is how like we can implement AI into games, because it's only really a recent development. I think the finals kicked it off really with the commentators, because they're all AI generated as well. and then there's a whole kind of like, oh well, you've missed out on voice actors having jobs and stuff. So, and I guess AI making what do we know what they used AI for? Was it for generating the pals or some of them?
No,
Yeah.
there's no confirmed use of AI in
Yeah,
the
I
game
didn't
yet.
think so.
No.
Oh, okay,
No.
yeah, I didn't
It's not
think it was
official.
confirmed at all.
But you can kind
They
of just
keep denying it.
assets, sound
Yeah.
effects, map. You know, you could see potentially. Yeah, I don't know if that's the case or not, but yeah,
But
and
then that, I guess
and
it's taking away a lot of creative talent and I guess jobs for creating that kind of asset or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
I
a
heard
whole
that.
thing because, like, you know, as far as I understand it, like AI has always been around. Well, obviously not always, but at the dawn of time. But like even back with Skyrim, like AI was used to like help progress, procedurally generate like maps and stuff. Like so it just depends what you're talking about on that continuum of like assistive AI or like AI that generates stuff all by itself. And I think that's maybe what we're more talking about here, you know, that where it's so proficient that it can actually, you know, replace a job. And you know, there's like it's two schools of argument, isn't it? It's like, well, we just have to kind of get with the times and accept that that's how it's going to be, and you need to get used to using that as a tool. You know, like when maybe like the camera was invented and what happened to art like painters. That's an analogy I've heard. I don't know if it's any good, but you know, the way analogous to the way that technology evolves and how that can make people adjust. You know, there's still a demand for painters, even though we have cameras. And then the other school of thought is, of course, you know, like maybe we should actually crack down and regulate this because God wouldn't approve. Like, you know. So,
I think
I don't
maybe
know.
it'll have to be like, you know, if something's copyrighted, you have to say, all right, this is from this place or from that place. Like Fortnite, this is Kratos from God of War, for example. I think if they're a bit more like, right, this is this guy made using AI or whatever. I think if they're a bit more honest with it, I don't think there'd be as much of an uproar. Or not saying Palworld have, but like other places, if they're honest from the get go, and then like this is AI made or generated, I think that's maybe not so much of a big deal. Like you said, getting with the times a bit more.
Yeah, or even AI assisted, right? To just for it to do just some of the legwork and then you pick up, you know, because that's what I heard. I don't know if that's the case or not, or like you say, confirmed, but I heard that they used it a little bit with the creation of the pals to get just a little bit of like a starting point, and then they added creative input in, but it just afterwards. But obviously, yeah, maybe AI just assisted with the initial creation, the initial idea, and then it was put on top. I don't know. We'll see what comes out, right?
But from what I understand, the speculation is that they essentially outsourced people to make the sprites, to make the pals, and like obviously the people who made it said no, we had, you know, we made these, but like it's not really known what they were up to.
They could have
Like
made
if they did drawings, they could have done, right, but officially, you know, as far as from what we know, there wasn't any AI used, but the conversation is obviously ongoing because there are some striking similarities. But you know, I said it last week before this whole controversy started. I said like I wouldn't be surprised if there was some AI used in the game, but as far as we know at the moment, there isn't. But
yeah,
definitely an interesting one.
for sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, like governments, I'm sure governments around the world are kind of watching this to see how it goes, to see if like there needs to be some sort of intervention or step in or regulation here. Because I also don't know like how this law works in other sectors. Like, you know, like are companies stopped using, like, is there regulation around automation? You know, like you think about supermarkets and self checkouts and stuff. Like, is there regulation around replacing your workforce for that? Like, can only go up to a certain point? Like, I don't know. Because if every company could, they would automate 90% of the shit they do, and then not everybody would be out of jobs, which would suck to begin with, unless we could do it all at once, and then we'd have, you know, universal basic income, and none of us would have to work. So, you know, we either accept the robot dominance all at once, or we don't do it at all. There's no in between.
I'm up for
Because the
accepting the
in-betweens.
robot dominance as
Yeah,
an
I would be as well.
introvert. I'm up for that. I don't want to talk to no humans. I'm good.
So there we are. I just want to quickly call out in the chat. Hi, Timmer. I hope you're doing okay. Timmer's stuck at home for 2 weeks due to surgery, so I hope you're doing all right, mate. And hi, Aptin Capitan. I hope I've said your name right. I probably haven't. I'm really sorry, but I hope you're both doing well. So, okay, we're on to big boy news now. How long have we got? Right, we've got about just over half an hour to cover some of these topics. So that feels right to me. So let's just start. Let's get it out of the way. A lot of layoffs happened this week, didn't they? It was Xbox's turn. It's been happening for the last, over a year, really, despite, such a huge amount of great games. There have been layoffs and layoffs and layoffs, and it's been happening all around the industry. The number that we've gotten from Microsoft or Xbox was 1,900, which is 8% of its entire workforce, and this is including ABK.
That's so high.
That's an awfully big number.
Imagine just
for
sacking off
scale,
8% of your total workforce under Xbox.
That's a Bethesda. That's a Bethesda size. The whole of ZeniMax is 2,200 roughly. So it's just under the whole of a Bethesda publisher. Like the whole of ZeniMax, id, ZeniMax Online, Bethesda Game Studios, Machine Games, all of them is about 2,200. So that's how many people they've just sacked or laid off. That's a big number, and it's been a big talking point for a number of reasons. Firstly, there's a lot of actually within the community, within the Xbox community, there's a lot of anger about this, and I think it's probably quite fair. After all these fucking victory laps that the Xbox team took, Phil Spencer included, very naughty boy, after the ABK acquisition, making it feel like it was going to be for the best, get Bobby out, get everyone's job secured, look at the great bright future we've got with Blizzard and Activision, and then a couple of months later, buy 2,000 a year. And the annoying thing is, it wasn't even just ABK. Like the bulk of it seems to have been ABK layoffs, but some of it did affect like ZeniMax as well. And it's like, I know this has been happening industry wide, so maybe to be expected a little bit in the kindest way possible. Like it's fucking bollocks, of course it is. Giant tech companies. And let's bear in mind, this was also, I don't know if you guys saw, this was in the same week that Microsoft just became the most profitable company ever. I might be getting the semantics slightly wrong, but they were the second company ever to hit a trillion.
Yeah.
I know, or was it? A trillion market cap, and they just overtook Apple to become the richest company in the world. And it's like come the fuck on, guys. It's so irritating, this whole fucking thing. You can't just be happy it's the biggest company. The line has to constantly be going up. It's so fucked, isn't it? Isn't that so fucked? Like you've won the game. You won. Like you're the biggest, you're the richest company. You came first. You got the chicken royale. You won. But you still have to be going up. And it's just, it really is fucking annoying. And obviously, we do this podcast because we're a fan of the Xbox brand. We like games in general. Sucks for the whole industry, but it's particularly disappointing considering Xbox is backed by fucking Microsoft, and you're going to go through all these acquisitions. And this number, it feels a bit bigger than maybe it should have been. And there's a couple of reasons for that, which we can talk about. But 8% feels kind of big, and it's not a good look after making, doing such huge acquisitions. So I hope everyone lands on their feet. But guys, I'll just put it to you. Any thoughts, anything you've seen, what do you think about this? Is this concerning you or not?
Are those or numbers from Xbox, or is it Microsoft in general?
No, Xbox.
Xbox. Wow, that's 10% of quite a small part of Microsoft, I imagine. That's crazy. I mean, we've been having these layoffs for the last year now. What's the driving factor behind these? I know some of them are trying to get the profit line around certain places. Is that all it is, or is there a bit more to it than that? Or
so the consensus. Yeah, the consensus is kind of two things. It's an industry-wide thing where, firstly, AAA games are ballooning in the expectations of what goes into them. So they're so pricey, all these massive teams. It's we talk about dev cycles being 6 years long now compared to maybe 10 years ago, it was only 3 years. You're paying people for so long. So that, the tech, et cetera, et cetera. So there's that where that's starting to become unsustainable. So it's how PlayStation are operating, even though they're doing really, really well, their profit margins are really thin. One miss and they're in real trouble. And their games have been doing extraordinarily well. So that should tell you all you need to know. The second thing is the COVID bubble. All the Silicon Valley and the tech industry hired up by the thousands during COVID because gaming went up. Gaming use went up because everybody stayed at home and played games instead of working. um,
Mm.
and now that's kind of stopped. So they're like, okay, bye. Sorry, we overhired. We wanted a bit more money. While society was down on its knees, and we don't need you anymore. So, ciao. So those are the two things from what I understand. Like that's happening industry wide. I don't know if that affects how you see it.
No, I mean, well, we'll see what, as in, yeah, obviously it's a bad thing. Like, it's a very strange thing.
Yeah,
Unnecessary, it
yeah,
feels like sometimes as well, like you just said, for the largest profit or whatever, largest company. So a bit strange.
yeah.
And it's even happening in smaller studios as well, isn't it? So,
It is. Yeah, like
yeah.
they gutted like 35% of Toys for Bob, which is like the studio who did like the Spyro, getting you the
Mm.
new Spyro games, the new Crash games for part of ABK, and it's like they're only like at 80. There's only like 80 of them, and they got rid of like half of them, and it's like, what did they do?
Yeah.
Not
What
enough,
did they do?
apparently. Nothing.
Yeah, clearly not enough.
That's
Yeah,
right.
need a brand new Spyro, Unreal Engine 6. That's what we needed. Didn't get it. Um, yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah, it's obviously fucking awful. And yeah, I agree with you. It seems very unnecessary. Especially when you consider the backing, right? It's you. I mean, you put it best where it's just like the line just has to keep going up, right? And I don't know why. It's just it's fine just to take a hit every now and again. Like it's in like a hit like that, they probably wouldn't even fucking notice anyway. Someone at Microsoft would look at the fucking finances and just be like, like we know, yeah, like we noticed that come out this month. It's like, no, realistically, you didn't. Like, for fuck's sake. But yeah, it's just really shit because a lot of these people are probably very talented, good, hardworking employees, and naturally, when you absorb a company and, yeah, you buy someone like ABK, there are going to be cuts, there are going to be changes. That's very natural, especially in like leadership roles and stuff like that. Like, I mean, Bobby Kotick just really had to go, didn't he? For example, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems too high. Like I was expecting layoffs and I was expecting changes and cuts to be made, but I was never expecting it to be this fucking high. Like it just seems unnecessary. And yeah, it's just a real shame because I mean, off the back of this, just outside of people's jobs, they're canceling like really like shit I was quite hyped for as well. Like the Blizzard survival game that was in the works for
Yeah.
God knows how long, wasn't it? Would you say, Dave? Like
6 years.
6 years? Yeah,
6
a
years.
6 year project that people were internally so hyped about, and it was so well received, and people were like, "This is the best thing I've worked on in my entire career," and then they're just like, "Nah, we're canning you, and we're canning the project." It's just like, for fuck's sake, like what is going on here? Like, and I'm pretty sure like Phil. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Phil has actually not name dropped it, but has talked, or someone very high up has talked about this Blizzard survival game and said that they were quite excited about what Blizzard are making.
I don't think anybody at Xbox has, but yeah, like journalists had done who had heard
Obviously, just
things
journalists.
internally.
Okay.
Yeah, like Jason
Um,
Schreier, I think had done. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, it's just a real shame, just through and through. There's nothing. I don't really think there's anything positive you can say about this. Like, sure, they spin it in a way of they're streamlining and focusing more on future projects that they know they want to go ahead with and all that kind of stuff, but like equally you could have just put these workers on those projects and had the projects work faster and come out quicker or whatever. I don't know, but I just don't think there's really a positive way you can put a spin on this. It just sucks.
I mean, the front facing PR that we've got and the internal memo that I think Phil did both was essentially, like the key themes as to why it was happening was around integration with ABK, overlap, like you said, as part of consolidation, there is overlap in roles,
Hmm.
and sort of having a coherent vision. That's the same thing about bringing more games to more people. Um, and it's worth noting as well that a lot of the layoffs, I don't have a number, were uh, not necessarily game devs, but were like uh, community managers, HR,
What admin roles?
Customer support, QA. Yeah, so obviously part of the teams, and there were devs that were laid off for sure, because there's I've seen people all week posting about it on Twitter, but like a big chunk of it were like kind of adjacent roles. Yeah, like you said, maybe a bit more admin. So just worth noting as well. Jumping back onto the survival game real quick. Yeah, because it was a weird one, that because we heard about it internally, and then they announced that they were making it in like a blog post 2 years ago. Essentially like come join us,
Hmm.
a bit of a promotion. And we got a report again from Bloomberg, from Jason Schreier over at Bloomberg, and this week, and he said that the game was built on like a mobile engine, a game that was made for mobile, and that ended up being like a really big mistake, because it made it really hard to keep building the game. So even though in concept it was going quite well, it was becoming a bit of a a bit hard, and development was starting to get quite difficult. Hence why it was taking so long after like a number of reworks. So, I do wonder. The thing is, and this is kind of part of the broader question here that we just don't have the details to. Were these cuts going to happen anyway? Was Bobby Kotick going to pull the plug on this? And he was like, you know what? Give me my 15 mil and I'll fuck off now. You guys can deal with firing 8% of your workforce.
Yeah.
We don't know. And that's obviously not to say that it purges the Xbox team of responsibility for this. They're the richest company in the world. Like, you can afford the line to be flat for like a year, like seriously. But you know, so that's probably why. And then the other interesting thing was, like, if it was Xbox that did the acquisition and decided to pull the plug on this game, like, I wonder if did Redfall scare them into it?
Potentially.
A game that they probably should have cancelled when they acquired Bethesda, and they didn't step in. And Phil went out in interviews and said, "Yeah, we probably should have stepped in and at least helped or done something, but we just kind of left them to it." And so I don't know. That's the other side of it. It's a bit of a tricky topic.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I mean, potentially, especially when you're talking about all at the back end of the engine it was built on and stuff like that. Maybe there was just that hesitation and there was that uncertainty about it. The Xbox were just like, yeah, maybe we don't need another Redfall here. We could roll the dice, but maybe we just don't. I don't know. Yeah, it is quite. Yeah, it's just, it's
it was
garbage.
sounding like it was still another 3 or 4 years out anyway. And it's like, if I'm Xbox, like, I'm definitely raising an eyebrow. Like, you guys have been going for 6 years and you want another, like, what, 3 or 4? Like, how many games do you know that have like 10-year dev cycles that come out well? Like, I don't know. It's a sign of troubled development. So from where I'm sitting, like, I get it. It's obviously a shame, because I was really excited for that in concept. And I do think Blizzard are known for long dev cycles. I do think they do take a long time, and obviously they tend to power like really good products in the end. But yeah, it does concern me a bit. Like, it does concern me a bit with the layoffs as well, that they're going to start relying on contractors as well. I don't know if you guys remember, that was a big point of controversy with Halo Infinite, that
Yeah.
like they relied a lot on contractors who came in and built the engine, but they can't keep contractors for longer than 18 months, like as an internal policy. So then they leave, and then new people come in and they have to pick up where someone else left off. And so it ends up really slowing down development, and like, it stops the coherency of the team. So I hope they don't do that, because they're fucking around with COD teams as well. It's like, guys, do you know what you acquired this? Do you know what you acquired ABK for? Like, are you aware that there's an extra zero on the end here? You spent 69 billion. It wasn't mil. It was billion. Like, do you know how much money
Yeah.
you spent, like, to do this? To like go in and start fucking things up. Like, so I don't know. It's, you've got to assume it's well thought through. Of course, they know better than I do, but you can't help be sat on the outside with a bit of uncertainty.
It's just a bad look.
It is a bad look. It is a bad look. The Blizzard president left as well, who was the same guy who used to be at Xbox, Mikey Barra, which is quite funny, because he left Xbox to go work at Blizzard, and then Xbox acquired Blizzard, and he was like, "Leave me alone."
Yeah.
Left
Fuck
again.
off. Yeah, it was really hate him. Yeah.
Harassment.
God.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just the kind of constant roller coaster of being an Xbox fan. You know, you might on page 10 of the notes there, I've got that really fucking funny like Xbox is back, Xbox is dead thing, like constantly. Hi-Fi Rush, Xbox is back, Redfall, Xbox is dead. FTC blocks ABK, Xbox. Oh no, it gets accepted. Xbox is back. CMA blocks it. Xbox is dead, and it keeps going. Blade gets announced. Xbox is back. Microsoft may be bringing Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves to other platforms. Xbox is dead. It just kind of keeps going.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones and Avowed are coming out this year. Xbox is back. Microsoft lays off 1,900 employees. Xbox is dead.
That means we've got a dub coming now, though. That's what it means.
Yeah,
There's a dub
exactly.
somewhere.
It's
Yeah,
true.
it's
It's
dub
true.
coming. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what, Kane? I've never thought of it like that. Yeah, it's like
There you go.
consistent
Yeah,
at the very
yeah.
least. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like
It's
that.
yeah, I mean, as funny as that meme is, you can't, there is a trend of that though. Xbox always do one thing right and then they do one thing bad. And it's like it's
Yeah.
never two steps forward and one step back. It's literally just one step forward, one step back.
Yeah,
And I just feel like
it
they're
is.
always in the same place. But I mean, I do still think that this is still, you know, as glooming as this news is, I still think this is the most exciting year for Xbox for a long time in terms of what they have in the pipeline and what they're building. But yeah, it's just it is quite funny, man. I do, they just do a couple things right on the bounce, guys. Come on, you got this. Break the chain. I believe.
Constantly slipping on banana peels, like constantly.
Yeah.
It's like they are getting there, like they're getting to the end of the race, but like there's just like all you have to do is step like one step to the left and like keep going.
Yeah. Yep. Ain't gonna happen though.
Funny stuff.
Yeah.
So that's the layoffs, really. I don't really know if I have much more to add about that. There's a bit of an extension to the conversation, which is kind of what's next, right? You know, the most optimistic take here I have is that they're properly integrating ABK now. You know, they're kind of really getting their people in the right place so they can properly manage this shit and just get this good cadence of games out. And hey, the Dev Direct, everyone was really happy with. You know, the Jeff Keighley poll went up, and most people voted A. You know, the highest score they could. Most people were really happy with the showing. We've got a good slate of games for the year. Maybe a bit of a break in quarter 1, which isn't ideal. But everybody's excited about this year for the platform, and you know, it should be even better. It should be like this for every year, if not better. You know, as long as they can hit the quality bar, really. So you know, that's kind of the upside, and you know, it's my hope really that this, if you're gonna do this, make it fucking worth it. You know, don't piss us around. And like, I think the problem is it's off the back of all those rumors with putting their games on other platforms, right? You know, and it's just this more uncertainty. So, you know, I'm really hoping that now that they've kind of got this out of the way, they can get out in front of this in the next few months and just put out a blog post or a video or something and just like tell us what's the plan now. Like, do you plan on porting some games to other consoles now? Like, because if you do, like, just give us the lowdown. Like, give us the lowdown, because this uncertainty is it's silly, and I imagine it's damaging sales. You know,
yeah, but
like I had
revealing the full truth damage sales more as well, which is maybe why they're doing it. Because if they do reveal their full hand or whatever, then people won't invest into the Xbox ecosystem right now. If they know that their plan is to eventually get shit onto all other platforms. So sometimes it is better just to drip feed it. So you have your growth. It's small growth, but it's still growth. You know, rather than having that steep drop off. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I get it. And I suppose because what seems like is going to happen is that there are absolutely going to be some games that are going to other consoles. Like that feels like that's a bless you game. That feels like that's what's going to happen. It seems like it's going to be select games, but we don't know how select. And like this is part of the problem. Like there are probably some edge cases where it makes sense, like porting Sea of Thieves, a 6-year-old game, to other consoles. I understand the strategy. I think it does damage the value of the console a bit, because you want to have a library. Like people still buy a PS5 now to play like Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us Part 1, Last of Us Part 2. Like once you have a solid catalog, people will buy it to play it. You know, it doesn't need to just be the newest thing. It's like what I spoke about with what makes you pull the trigger on a console. It's like all the little punches And then there's like the big like uppercut, the big shiny new game, 90+ Metacritic. Everybody's talking about it. Like that's the thing. And I think you're taking away the little punches if you're porting the occasional hi-fi, you're porting the occasional Sea of Thieves. So I understand the strategy, and I think the wrinkle is it just, you know, one in every 10 games where it makes sense? Or are we talking about like 50% of the catalog here? Are we talking about everything other than Halo, Gears, Forza, and Starfield? You know, what are we talking about here? So I think that's kind of my thing coming off the back of this, and like really making, I think, the community feel a lot of uncertainty around the direction. Like, get out in front of it and just like, for our sake, let us know what's going on. Because the day's gonna have to come, you know. So I wonder
Rip
when it
that
is.
Band-Aid off. Yeah. No, yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
exactly. Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay, so we've got there was a Towerborn preview this week, guys. Sort of changing gears a little bit.
What's that?
I don't know if you saw anything about this. We had a little Towerborn preview. I don't know who did it actually. I wish I should probably have that. Oh dear. But it looks nice. Have a quick look at the pictures. Tim, if you could just take over for a second, you can probably see it on page 3 there. There's a couple of new screenshots that I've put in the thing.
Yeah.
I just quickly need to check. I think I can hear my baby, and I just want to check on him real quick. So just
No,
take
yeah,
over from me for a sec. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's 2 of me. I don't know why, but whatever. Oh, did Deck turn off his camera? Is that why?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Did you know a Towerborn preview came out, Ken?
No, the only time I heard of the preview is what was Deck mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
It didn't come up in any of my feeds anywhere.
No, I had no idea either. But yeah, obviously I'm showing my screen and showing off some of these images. It's very interesting actually. It almost looks kind of there's like one of those like hexagonal like overworlds by the looks of it. It kind of reminds me of For the King a little bit. Which is quite interesting. I wonder if that's just like a travel sort of system, or whether or not the game is. Yeah, I imagine that's just how you traverse the map, and then you load into these like individual levels. But just getting a kind of vibe for the game. Yeah, looks interesting. I have to admit, yeah. I mean, I'm excited for Towerborn anyway. I think it looks like a pretty solid game. It looks, I don't know, to me it kind of, is it just me, or does the art style kind of look a little different, or am I just straight capping?
What do you mean from like when we last saw it?
Yeah, like I don't know. Maybe it's just the scenes that are being showed have a bit more like muted colors and a bit more browny, you know, especially like on the ship and stuff like that. I don't know. It almost looked a bit more 3D-esque when we last saw it. I know it was always that like 2.5D, but it looks very, very 2D from those sort of screenshots. But no, yeah, I don't know.
What were you going to say, Caden?
No, I was just saying to Tim, like I haven't heard much of Towerborn other than kind of what we've seen, and this preview I didn't know about it.
Yeah,
so
just kind of dropped in silence.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just refresh myself on the game now.
Yeah,
it's kind of a quiet one, isn't it? It very rarely shows up.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think the speculation is that it's going to be in the second half of this year at some point. But I think one of the things that they particularly nailed down in the preview was that it's going to have like an episodic narrative, like it's a service game. Like straight up, they're like, "Yep, it's a service game," and they were like, "We know that's going to be a bit weird for people because this is like a side scroller, like Monster Hunter sort of beat 'em up. But we've got classes, we've got loot, you know, we've got like auxiliary loot, you know, like the little pet things, they call them umbral spirits. You know, maps will evolve in the level design, enemy spawn, seasonal content. So there's going to be seasons by the sound of it. And I just thought that was quite interesting. You know, this kind of like casual, like they're fully embracing the casual service model where it's like, yep, you know, this isn't a game you need to play 60 hours a week, but it is something we are going to keep evolving, and you can dip your toes in, and it should be kind of easy peasy to get to grips with. And I'm like, you know what?
That's quite a nice idea.
I can respect that. Yeah.
Talking about Diablo earlier, like I assume 100 is still the cap. I assume it probably still takes over. Well, I don't know, how long does it take to get to level 100 nowadays?
Probably
It's a full
quite a
commitment to get a level 100 seasoned character. I guarantee you're both not going to do that. Whereas if you're doing it on a lot smaller basis, where it's like, yeah, hop on for like, small episodes. You go on, do your episode, and maybe do some extra like endgame content, and you feel like you've done that season, and then you can kind of move on, and then a new season will come out, or a new episode. I think it's quite a nice, more casual approach to that kind of idea.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it's kind of like a similar approach to how like the Telltale games do it sometimes, right? Where they like what was like the wolf one and all those like Tales from the Borderlands, the Wolf Among Us, all that sort of stuff. Where you play the first part and then you wait. I don't really know what the turnover was for those sort of things, like how often they release these like episodic things. I don't know if it was like every like 3 months or something like that, or a couple months, or
well, Life is Strange was the same as well. That was like an episodic thing.
Yeah. So
yeah, they were quite a while, if I remember.
Yeah, no, it's quite interesting. But then those games are less gameplay driven and a bit more story driven. So I don't know how jarring that's going to be when this is a bit hack and slashy. It's a bit gameplay, right? And then you're just going to hit to a point where it's just like, nah, you're done. You have to wait for the next part. So, oh, okay. Well, I was kind of just getting it. I was kind of vibing with just slashing some stuff, and now I just hit a wall where I have to wait, set amount of time for the next part of the game.
I imagine that will have some kind of incentive to replay it, get better loot or whatever, I imagine. So then when you hit next season, you've got better loot, I'm imagining.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
Fully know what's going on yet.
Because, it's definitely an interesting concept, and I quite like the idea of that, but we haven't seen that with like a gameplay driven video game. It's always been story driven games that have done this sort of stuff, and so I don't know. Interesting.
It reminds me a little bit of in terms of what I was saying about it being a bit more of a casual approach, like Deep Rock. Deep Rock to me, like, kind of got that right, where it's like you can hop into that game and you just shoot bugs, and you don't have to think about min-maxing your shit at every because this happens even a little bit in Diablo, and it's only in season 3 when we came back to him. There was a moment where I was like, my overwhelmed, like, senses are tingling, where I'm like, I'm starting to get scared, where like there are things I don't understand and I've forgotten how to do, and like, why is this happening? Why is that? Why can't you get on your horse?
Currencies.
What's going on? Yeah, there's loads of currencies. It's like every time we thought about going back to Destiny, because on paper, like, that's a game we should have been playing for our entire lives, but every time we tried to go back to it, it was just so hard to break that kind of like to get over that hump of like getting back into the swing of it, understanding all the mechanics. Whereas if like Deep Rock, like I said, like really the progression is a lot of it is cosmetic. There's some like vertical progression there, but it's like quite simple, really. Yeah, it's quite basic. And I think if they can do that, keep the sort of the core gameplay fun here in Towerborn, I think they could do the same thing. So yeah, I think it's cool. All for it.
How would the
novel though, like quite novel?
How was the preview received just as a game? Like, did they say it felt good? Did they say it like, it was positive in those areas, or was it more of like a information based preview?
Yeah, I don't know if they played it. I think it was just a bit more of a like watch it get played and then take notes. Yeah, that's what it seems to be anyway.
Cool.
But it definitely seems to be this kind of Castle Crashers, Monster Hunter hybrid. Like, that's kind of the thing. Four weapon classes at launch. I think it was gauntlets, spear, sword and shield, and there's a big boy that I can't. Maybe like a lance,
or a hammer,
something like that.
Give
something
me
like that. Yeah, maybe
a
lance or hammer.
Let's go.
Yeah, gauntlets sound cool. Yeah. So yeah, that's Towerborn. Yeah, I still remain optimistic about that. I think that could be one of the good co-op games of the year.
Definitely.
So yeah, no, I'm excited about that. That'll be day one Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we've only got one little story left, and we've got a bit of time. We're coming into the last 5 minutes. That's good. Good timing. But very quickly, just quick shout out to the chat and anyone who's listening after the fact. If you're still with us, if you've liked listening to the show, don't forget to give us a like, subscribe if you like what you're hearing. That's it really. But as we get into the last news story, I just want everyone to just be quiet for just a second. Just a moment. Hang on.
Cream frige.
Nice,
Cream
man.
frige.
That's why you wanted me to say it.
Cream
Oh,
frige.
that's brilliant. You can create custom Discord sound bites. That's
Oh yeah.
fucking amazing, dude. He just sent me a message the other day, Caden, last night, and it was just he had a fucking packet of creme fraiche on the thing. And he's like, can you just send me a recording of you saying this? Because obviously I say it really stupid because of the South Park like episode where he's like obsessed with like
What is a
fraiche.
reference?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that
say
ruins
cream fraiche.
everything.
I say cream
you thought he
fraiche.
was just
Stupid.
Oh no, you've ruined Deck's whole life now.
That's hilarious,
This has ruined
dude.
everything. Now
Yeah.
I'm stupid. Now I'm the stupid one.
I say cream fraiche
Shit.
like that on purpose. I know it's creme fraiche.
God damn it.
I say cream fraiche on purpose.
I had no idea. No, because my intention wasn't to use it for the show.
You wanted to laugh
I
at
was
Tim.
no.
Oh,
I
you
was
did it to
talking about
mock
with Beth.
me.
Unbelievable,
No,
dude.
not
Unbelievable.
true.
You
Not
son
true.
of a bitch.
I was talking about it with Beth, and I said it funny. I said it like you, and she was like, "That's stupid. Why did you say it like that?" And I was like, I know people who say it like that, and she was like, "Who says it like that?" And I was like, "Tim says it like that." Look, and that's I'll fucking tell. She was like, she didn't believe me. She was like, "No, you're lying. You're lying to me right now." So I sent you that. Waited until the room was quiet, and I played it out loud, and she
You didn't
believed
wait,
me.
you demanded, but
That's
go on.
really funny.
Demanded,
I'm
yeah, so-
always 2 steps ahead, man. Always 2 steps ahead.
Fucking cream fraiche, man. Well, there you go. It's a soundbite in the server now, so we can all use that whenever
We could
like.
all use it. That's
Yeah.
fucking fantastic. How do I do it?
So every now and
Cream
again, if I'm
fraiche,
asking,
yeah.
if I'm asking for sound bites of you in the chat, you know why.
Cream frige. Cream frige. Cream frige.
Oh my god. Cream fraiche. I love that. That's great. That's hilarious.
Man, it's funny stuff. I've been doing that in the background for this whole episode, and I've just been waiting for the right moment to strike. So
Well
glad it
played.
paid off.
Well played.
Thanks, man. All right, then. Final story as we get into the 5 minutes. If we're rushing, guys, it's because we are. Tim's got places to be, so we're just wanting to get wrapped up in the last 5 minutes here. So, Caden, do you ever use like remote play or xCloud? Do you use any of that shit? I suppose you probably don't now, because you.
Not really, no. I've got it all in the right place.
Yeah.
But I have used it before, like certainly
Mhm.
being away. Yeah, I know what you're going to go on to now. And yeah, I mean, a little bit. I see it's got a place, but I guess not for me. I'm not the right person, I suppose.
Sure. Yeah. No. It was interesting because me and Tim have gone back and forth on this over the years. Sort of like, what's the usefulness of like cloud and remote play to us as maybe like hardcore gamers? And I wonder how that transfers to like the core audience or even the casual audience. Do they even know what remote play is? Do they have the
Yeah.
Xbox app, or do they use xCloud if they've got Game Pass Ultimate? But the news here, just to sort of put it in context, is that touch controls are going to be available on all Xbox mobile apps. So I assume this means xCloud and remote play. And just to clarify any confusion, there were some games on xCloud that natively supported touch controls. So you could go on the app, you could boot it up, and the game will say, "Yay, we support touch controls. You don't need to connect to controller via Bluetooth. You could just use your phone," and that'd be great. But not all of them did. And it tended to be a custom thing, like the devs had placed the buttons in particular places to make it easy for that particular game. What they're saying here is that there's just going to be a default overlay onto all of these apps, and you can just from your dashboard like go into whatever game you like, and you can try and play any game you like that way with the built like the default touchpad, which you can customize, but you can just do that on the touchscreen, which is great because that means I can remote play and get my Xbox, my Bing rewards in. Got to get those Gonna get his reward points.
Yeah, man.
The line's gonna be going up.
Yeah, always got to be going up.
I'm the problem. Oh, the problem. So yeah, I remember a while back, Tim. You said you what did you play on it? Did you try Starfield on it? Am I going
Yeah,
crazy?
yeah. No, I've actually been using remote play in xCloud actually more than I ever have recently. With just obviously sometimes I just want to. I'm just sort of comfy upstairs on the sofa. Like Tilly's using the main TV, so I have a Series S up there as well, so I could, but then I'd have to obviously boot her off the main TV. So yeah, I always have like my Surface Pro with me, and it's just like like under the coffee table sort of thing. So yeah, I literally just booted that up and played some Starfield on it, and it actually ran really well. Like it was pretty decent, like slight input delay, but that's the sort of input delay I'm like a little bit used to when I play games up there anyway, because it's not like a really good gaming TV. So there's like a slight. I only play like really casual games up there. It's good, man. I liked it.
Did I miss something? Did you say you do it on your Surface, don't you, most of the time?
Yeah, I do it on my Surface sometimes, but I have done it on my phone as well. So I did it a little bit when I went away to Edinburgh. I played some stuff on xCloud on my phone. What did I play? I think I played some Cassette Beasts, and I might have played some Slay the Spire as well. So again, you know, those sort of games, I don't use it for anything mental, but yeah, no, it's good. I think it's actually a pretty good feature. I've used it more than I ever have. So
I like the option. There are definitely times, and it's really weird because actually these features come into my head when I think about like if I like what sort of game I'm playing next, like, and if that game is something like Marvel Midnight Suns, or it's like, you know, an RTS game, I do think, oh, like an advantage of me playing that now is that I could just get my phone out and just play this. Like, and also now I don't have to lug a controller around with me wherever, if there's not, you know, remote control, touchscreen controls are already available on xCloud or whatever. You know, I can just pop this out and just play it if I want.
Yeah.
So I get it's one of these things. I'm glad these features are here, and I'm glad they're still working on them. We'll see if how much support it continues to get in the years to come. But yeah, cool. Just a nice little thing to add to this feature.
Yeah. No, yeah. There's been a few times I booted up a game and I'm just like, oh, it doesn't actually have touch controls. Like that's pretty annoying. It's actually what kind of made me end up buying the Backbone. I think I ended up getting, because some of the stuff I was looking to play, if I were to do xCloud, actually just didn't have touch controls at the time. So wasted purchase for me. Nice.
Yeah, nice.
Sick. I'll throw money down the drain.
I'm sure it'll be more comfortable than holding a square.
Yeah.
You know,
No, for sure.
otherwise known as a Nintendo design. But, yeah. All right. Okay, that comes to the end of the show, everybody. I hope you had a fucking marvelous time with us.
Cream free.
We will be back next week. Hopefully with some more positive news, for the most part. But best wishes, you know, give Caden your best wishes. You know, let's hope he doesn't suffer any blood clots in his Tekken time.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
Fingers
yeah,
crossed.
that's you, man.
Really
You're doing a really risky thing. You know, stay strong, man.
I will do.
Stay strong.
Yeah, don't forget to like wiggle your legs every now and again. Yeah, just
I do forget that.
look away from the screen for like 5 seconds.
Mhm.
Yeah, we don't wanna lose it.
I've got my other one there, so I'll just look at that one. I'm like, oof.
Yeah, take a break onto the other screen or your phone screen. Yeah. All right, everybody, take care.
Yeah.
See you
Cheers,
later.
guys. See
Have
you
a
in a
good
bit.
one. Bye.
Bye.